Melanie McCool here with a bit of a lesson that is meant to empower you so that you don't think that you are a slave to fate, which is what the misuse of the words genetics and hereditary is doing to people. And I know this because my clients come to me completely misinformed, and they come to me feeling like victims to something that they have no way of, healing themselves. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So whether we're talking about a disease or a mental disorder, right, these things are not usually genetic. Okay, so a genetically inherited disease would be something that is an absolute mutation in the gene sequence that is passed down from generation to generation. You can track it in the gene pool, in the family lineage. And that would be something like hemophilia or sickle cell or cystic fibrosis or Huntington's, right? So these are obviously genetic mutations, disorders, and that it accounts for about 1% of disease. 1% is actually attributed to straight up gene mutation passed from parents to offspring. The rest of diseases are essentially environmental in nature, or the environment's interaction with the DNA reading, so epigenetics, so reading the code. And so what that looks like is environmental factors, whether they're physical or chemical stressors, or behavioral, so dysfunctional transmission of neurotic behaviors, for example. These are things that can absolutely change the way that the DNA sequence is read and result in disease. Okay, so this happens within a lifetime. And a really simple example would be something like somebody who is smoking, or you probably know that eating lots of barbecue can mutate your genes, or having an extremely stressful life over years and years. These things can result in mutations in a gene sequence that can result in something we call cancer. Okay, so that is from the environment within this lifetime. And where things go drastically wrong is when when somebody has a disease or a mental disorder, right, that is also present in the parents or in the grandparents, then it is called hereditary. And people don't understand that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with their genes. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with your genes. It means that something went wrong in the way that your gene sequence was read, okay? Or there was a mutation in the gene sequence. And that didn't necessarily come from your parents. Now, the dysfunctional behavior may have come from your parents. The environment that you grew up in obviously was influenced by your parents, whether it's physical or chemical. What kind of foods were you fed? The same thing they ate, right? How did you react to your environment? The same way that they did. What kinds of choices did you make? You probably made a lot of the same choices. And all of these, our habits are formed when we're very small. So a lot of these choices don't even feel like they were our choice to make. They just became part of us. So, but knowing all of this, knowing that hereditary does not mean genetic, it doesn't mean that you are absolutely a slave to this fate of disease or disorder. It should be the most empowering thing you've ever heard if you haven't understood it before, because you do have a choice. You can modify your environment. You can modify your mental environment. There's something called neuroplasticity. You can change the way you think, the way that you respond to your environment, and you absolutely can overcome these poor behaviors or the environment that you were raised in so that you never exhibit the same disease that your family did. And this is so different from what most people understand. most people go and they find out these things, and then they just feel like they have no choice. This is just, they've got to listen to what they're told to treat this dis-ease and eventually succumb to it, right? Not at all true. Furthest from the truth. And another major way that this is inflicted upon the public when people actually think that we all carry cancer. Okay, so this is commonly spoken and said. Everybody carries cancer. Okay, let me explain. Cancer is a mutation in a gene from free radical damage. Okay? We all have cells that can be bombarded by free radicals and can cause mutation in a gene where that cell would then, its normal function would be suppressed so that it grew and grew into became a tumor. We know what that looks like, right? But this could happen a lot in a body, and a healthy immune system is designed to eat cancer. It's a normal thing for it to encounter and eat those cells that went wrong, destroy them, and eradicate them, eliminate them. Your immune system is built to kill cancer cells. But here people are all sitting around thinking, I'm carrying cancer. It's just a matter of time before I get this cancer. And then I've got to go and have the treatment that does what? Depresses my immune system? It's so drastically wrong. You have cells that could be bombarded by free radicals, especially if your environment introduces lots of them. Okay? But if you instead choose to turn on your restore and renew, to increase your immune system naturally with ways that are absolutely proven, then you don't have to be fearful of something as if it is inevitable. Because that's a lie. It's not that it's inevitable. You do have power. You do have responsibility, and you can make a difference. No matter what your family tree looked like, what happened there, you can make a difference. You absolutely can change the way you eat, the way you breathe, the water you drink, the types of things you do, your level of positivity, your chill outness so your body can restore, renew. You can do all of that. And if that was what was taught to you, then this whole, dis-ease, disorder world might just collapse around us as we all learn to just be human beings instead of living in fear of our own genetics. So, Melanie McCool here, and I'd love to share more with you about how you can empower yourself to live a vitally healthy life.